You know, the United States of America was the greatest country before Trump, and it's the greatest country now after Trump. The white supremacists want to go back. They want to go back to the days when it was legal to own slaves.
You are about to be entertained by the young man who has become a legend in his own time. You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Oh, yes, indeed. What's up, everybody? Yours truly. It's the R, the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program, coming to you live everywhere. LA Talk Radio, Blog Talk Radio, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, all over the place. Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. Oh boy, I just barely made it to sit down and get ready to do this program. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Ron Kelly Talk Radio show. Wow. So what a night. Last night, I believe it was. What a night. Well, Tuesday night. What a night. What a night for the Democrats. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about it. What a night for the Democrats. Democrats showed up and showed out Tuesday night. And not one Republican or MAGA person, not one MAGA person was in any statewide race. Not one MAGA person in any statewide race won. The Democrats won. Virginia, the governor, Abigail Spanberger, in New Jersey, right here in New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill, and then and in Virginia, the lieutenant governor runs separately from the governor. So you got the governor, the lieutenant governor, and the attorney general of Virginia. A clean sweep. The Democrats, a clean sweep. New York City, Zoran Mondani, the Democratic Socialists, everybody, all the Republicans are so afraid of one handily put the smackdown on Cuomo, put the smackdown on Andrew Cuomo and Curtis Lever. Poor Curtis Lever wasn't even relevant. Anyway, so it was a clean sweep for the Democrats Tuesday night, and we're definitely going to get into some of that here on the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. Just a couple minutes past the hour. Just getting involved in what's going on here. Just getting involved in what's going on here. Shout out to my people at American Port of Fuel Transportation. You know, American Port of Fuel Transportation for 45 years. 45 years, American Port of Fuel Transportation has been your source for reliable transportation back and forth from your destination. We'll get into them a little bit later on in the program, American Port of Fuel Transportation. So yeah, so we have so much to talk about tonight. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into we got so much to talk about. So much to talk about. We're going to get into a lot of stuff tonight. We're going to talk about black politicians. We're going to get into that because these are the things that we need to start talking about, ladies and gentlemen. And these are the things that we need to start talking about. Black politicians. What's the significance? Because we know what white politicians do for white folks. We already know that. Because you can see when white politicians actually do something for their people. But black politicians, so we're going to talk about that. The symbolism, a lot of it amounts to Barack Obama, the first black president, and we have the first black New York County District Attorney, and first black this, first black that, first black the other. We got the lady, first woman black Supreme Court Justice. What does it mean? What does it mean? And we're going to talk about Councilman Velez, 5th Ward Councilman for the city of Paterson, New Jersey. For those of you who are listening around the country and don't know what the hell I'm talking about, I'm going to talk about Councilman Louis Velez, who It's coming on the program next week. Councilman, Fifth Ward Councilman in the great city of Patterson, New Jersey, Louis Velez is coming on the program next week. And what and what the problem is? Why is everybody so? One person said I'm going to lose listeners. I've never lost any listeners. Well, no, maybe I have, but it won't be because of Louis Velez. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into that. We're also going to get into the blue wave that took place Tuesday night. How it's going down. And we're going to talk about black politicians. Because you're watching the Ron Kelly show. I'm not afraid to talk about certain things. And these are the things we have to address. Boots on the ground and all this nonsense. And, and just the nonsense that you see on social media, for example. When a fight breaks out, all the black folks surround the person with their cameras. Don't break it up. Don't try to break it up. Don't try to get in the middle of it. Film it. This way you can put it on your Facebook or your LinkedIn, YouTube, Snapchat, Twitter, whatever. X now, not Twitter anymore, it's X. And you can get some likes. So we're going to get into this stuff because tonight is the night. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. It's November the 6th, 2025. Wow, Thanksgiving is a couple weeks away. You said, man, it seems like I know the time goes the way it goes, but it just seems like somebody's got their foot on the gas because we just were, I was just at a house music festival a few weeks ago, it seems like, and now we're headed toward Thanksgiving. I still remember what I did. Well, I always remember what I did on New Year's because I don't drink. But wow, it seems like the time is just flying by at 7.5 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock. It's November the 6th, 2 days after the massacre that took place on Tuesday. Because nobody expected Citarelli to win. I mean, we had Chris Christie for 2 terms. Chris Christie was a Republican. We had Christie Whitman. I believe she was a term, Christie Whitman. I think she lost the second time after she went on a raid with police officers and thought it was cute to pat down a suspect. And she's smiling while she's patting down a suspect that's up against a wall for a photo op. And she's smiling like maybe she was getting a kick out of it, searching a black man. Patting down a black man. Maybe she did get a kick out of that. But I think that's what cost her a second term. So yeah, and then we have Spanberger in Virginia, and her attorney general and the lieutenant governor also won the race. So wow. So anyway, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into a lot of stuff tonight. We're going to get into why is everybody so down against Councilman Louis Velez? Why? What the problem is? We're going to get into that. Also, we'll get into the black politicians. Do we need them? Do they help us? Do we need them? Because we so scrambling for the first black this and the first black that. And I'm going to ruffle a few feathers today, much love to the people who might get mad at me tonight. But, I got to say what I got to say. We keep it real here on the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. It's just about 10 minutes past the hour. So we're going to get into this stuff. We are going to get into it right here on the Ron Kelly Talk Radio show. American Porterfield Transportation has been transporting folks. Since 1980, American Porterfield serves hundreds of thousands of customers, including children, handicapped, elderly, and individuals. Their reputation is built on hard work, integrity, and professionalism. Requests for their services and their list of satisfied clients keeps growing and growing. They are continuing to expand to keep up with the demand. Whether you're students or groups or of elementary or high school age, public, private, or parochial school, college students, or private groups and organizations, whether student or adult, their fully trained drivers and staff will do as well as the variety of their fleet, ensures safe transportation to and from any destination. So give them a call, 1-888-753-6423, 1-888-753-6423. It's Amica and Porterfield Transportation at 10 minutes past the hour. I think I also need to let you guys know that the views and opinions expressed here are exclusively those of myself and R. Kelly Media Enterprises LLC, and are not those of my advertisers or my support team. Know what I mean? Anyway, it's about 12 minutes past the hour. So yeah, so we had what a night Tuesday night for the Democrats, who swept through all the statewide races. In California, Prop 50 was voted in by the folks. And in New York, with 2 million people voted, that's the most people that voted in New York since 1950. 2 million people voted. So Trump has caused this blue wave. It's all about Trump, because he hasn't done anything he said he was going to do. Now the ICE stuff and going up in people's jobs and dragging them out by their feet and all of that, he's done that. Closing, making sure the border is shut where nobody can get through. Oh yeah, he's done that too. But food prices haven't gone down. Housing has not gone down. None of the things that Trump said he would do, he has done. And you still have black folks running around here, and just look at running around here supporting him. Because look what happened. Look at his cabinet. One black person, the one black person, Secretary of Housing. Anybody can be Secretary of Housing. I could be Secretary of Housing. Anybody can do that. But for the crucial jobs, defense, Justice Department, FBI, CIA, all of those jobs, he gave them to white people. But you still have black folks running around here talking about Trump. The king of the coons, Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina, king of the coons, who continues to support this man, And I was watching a clip where Trump was standing behind him and just shaking his head like, look at this idiot. You can always find a black person to turn their back on their people. Anyway, it's 13 minutes past the hour. It's a Ron Kelly Talk Radio show. So what is the beef? What's the beef with Luis Velez? What's the beef? What is the beef? Because I posted on the program on my page that I was going to be interviewing 5th Ward Councilman Luis Velez, city of Paterson, New Jersey. And immediately somebody said, well, you're going to lose viewers. So I'm going to lose viewers because I wanted to put Luis Velez on the program. Wow. So I'm going to lose viewers because I want to put Luis Velez on the program. Look, if you got beef with Councilman Velez, long as you're respectful, don't use no foul language or anything like that, you'll have an opportunity to post while the show is going on live, and I'll see your message live, and I'll take your message and I'll put it on the screen for the whole world can see. As long as you're not using any foul language, you can, because we can all talk without using foul language. As long as you don't use foul language, you can go onto the program. You can message the show, and your message will go up on the board. As long as you're not being disrespectful. Say what you want to say, but don't use any foul language. You got issues with Councilman Velez, this is your chance to voice your opinion. So 5th Ward people, those of you who live in the 5th Ward where Luis Velez is the councilman, you have a chance to speak your piece next Thursday, November 13th at 7 p.m. 5th Ward Councilman Luis Velez right here on the Ron Kelly Show. All right, we take a break and we'll come back and we'll talk about what I said I was going to talk about. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show, and it's on Blog Talk Radio, LA Talk Radio, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and blogtalkradio.com. All right, everybody, welcome back. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. It's about 18 minutes past the hour, just about 20 minutes past the hour of 7 p.m. It's November the 6th already, 2025, and it seems like we were just sitting in the park just last week, grooving to the house music, and now it's cold, and the time just flew past. Anyway, everybody, it's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program in a whole bunch of different places on the social media spectrum: YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, LA Talk Radio, blogtalkradio.com, all over the place, the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show. Thank you to all the people who listen to the Ron Kelly Show. Many of you I can't see because a couple of people had said to me, listen, I can't see you. I mean, you did you see me? I said, no. I didn't see you. So if I don't see you, it's because of Facebook, and there's so many people tuning into the program that I cannot see everybody. But and when I look at the numbers on my dashboard, I see how many people watch, but I can't see the individual people. So for everybody who does listen to the Ron Kelly Show, who watches the Ron Kelly Show, I appreciate you, even though I may not mention you, but I do appreciate you at 20 minutes past the hour. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what happened the other night with the elections. And, this is all, backlash. It's buyer's remorse, like I heard Van Jones on CNN. Buyer's remorse. See, because people, because even in Passaic County, for example, Passaic County, New Jersey, they went overwhelmingly for Trump just a few months ago. A year ago, went Democratic this time for Mikey Sherrill. But Passaic County are largely Hispanic. Many Hispanics, a large Hispanic community, a large portion of the Hispanic communities in New Jersey live in Passaic County, Clifton, Passaic, Patterson. And those same areas that went for Trump last year went for Mikey Sherrill this year. So it's buyer's remorse. People are waking up and saying, wait a minute, I didn't vote for that. I didn't vote for my cousin to be dragged off and shipped off to Venezuela or someplace. I didn't vote for that. I didn't vote for the White House to be torn down. I didn't vote for the government shutdown. I didn't vote for cuts in Medicaid and Medicare. I didn't vote for the new tunnel being shut down. I didn't vote for money being held back because, punishment for not doing what the king says to do. I didn't vote for any of that. So people are starting to wake up and saying, like, wait a minute. Like in New York City, for example, 2 million people voted. 2 million people voted altogether. Most of the votes went to Mindani, but 2 million people voted in New York yesterday. In Manhattan alone, 2 million people on Tuesday voted for Mamdani. See, Trump is poison right now. Trump is poison. Jack Ciattarelli did not want to separate himself from Trump. Look what happened. He got slaughtered. The lady, Winsome Earl Sears, that's the lady's name, the black woman Republican from Virginia who was running for governor, who Trump did not support. Trump did not support her like he does the white people. The white MAGAs, and he didn't support. Now, she didn't separate herself from Trump, although she didn't mention Trump in any of her ads, but she didn't separate herself from Trump. What happened? She got body slammed by Abigail Spanberger, former congresswoman. So it's buyer's remorse. People are now like, wait a minute. What's up, whoever that is? I'm not sure. What's up? What's good? How you doing? Welcome to the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. So now people are waking up and they're realizing what they did, voting for Trump. Look what they voted for, a monster. And now the people are waking up and they're saying, like, wait a minute. I didn't vote for this. So you make it up for what you did wrong. You fell for the banana in the tailpipe with Trump. And I can't even say that Trump was being disingenuous, because everybody knew who Trump was. And he said he was going to do what he's doing right now. He said he was going to do it. So I don't understand where the disconnection came in, because Trump said he was going to do all of this stuff. He said he was going to cut Medicare. He said he was going to do these things, and y'all voted for him anyway. But Tuesday, it's the buyer's remorse. People are starting to get the message. That Trump does not have your best interest at heart. Trump has his best interest at heart and the interests of his family. That's what he has at heart, not you. Not you. Because the 2 longest government shutdowns took place on Trump's watch. And now, if you're planning on going anywhere, you might want to change your plans for right now, because I'm definitely not flying anywhere right now, because many of the air traffic controllers, they're not getting paid. I'm not saying they're going to start crashing planes, but they're not getting paid. They're exhausted. They got stuff on their minds. They're cutting flights by 10%. They haven't announced what airports are going to be, because Newark Liberty is probably one of them, the nearest airport they're closest to where I am right now. So I wouldn't be flying nowhere right now. No. You see what happened yesterday? The plane, it didn't have nothing to do with the air traffic controllers, but that UPS plane, when that plane hit the ground, it just disintegrated. So I'm not going nowhere right now. So shout out to Yacy. Yacy, I can't see the picture. I can't see the picture, but shout out to you. Appreciate you. Thanks you for tuning into the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program at 25 minutes past the hour. So yeah. So good job, peoples. Good job. You pushed back on Trump. So I'm not going to talk about you as hard as I was before because you pushed back. Many of the folks, Hispanics in particular, who Passaic County, who went for Trump in November, went Democratic this time because you're seeing, especially the Hispanic folks, because they're not deporting black people because they can't, but especially the Hispanic folks, you see your people being dragged off. I was watching today a school teacher, how do they know she was in that school? But they went in there and dragged her out. This is what you voted for? Really? So, wow. So it's 26 minutes past the hour. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, so good job, everybody. Good job voting Democratic. Now let's see what the Democrats are going to do. Because I'm not really subscribing to either party. But let's see what they're going to do this time. So I wanted to talk a little bit about black politicians, and their impact in the areas that they serve. Because I have a friend, who is a councilwoman. Well, I wouldn't say she's a friend, but she's an associate, somebody who I know and respect, is the council person of a certain ward. I'm not even going to say where the ward is, what city it's in. But nothing has changed in that ward. It's still, overrun with crime and poverty and, all kinds of stuff going on. So we celebrate black people being elected to office. When Barack Obama was elected, we have overcome. No, we didn't. When Barack Obama was voted, when Barack Obama, in 2008, when Barack Obama won the presidency, lots of black folks thought that from now on we would be okay. Because it was white folks that put Barack Obama in office twice. It wasn't us. We contributed. Black folks contributed, but there's not enough black people to vote put Barack Obama in office. White folks did that. We helped. We helped him out. But white folks did that, not black folks. And so we talk about, and when Barack Obama was elected president, everybody thought that, hey, we're all right now. We are now. And for those of you who are looking for me to talk about Louis Velez, I am going to talk about that. I don't want to give too much away, though, because that's next week. I don't want to give too much away, but I will address it sometime during the program. It's 32 minutes before the hour of 8 o'clock. So when Barack Obama was elected president, everybody thought we have overcome. It's going to be good times from here on in. Because we got a black president in the highest office in the world, not just in America, in the world. Because there's no higher office than to be the president of the United States of America. There's no higher office than that. And so people thought that all our problems would go away. And they didn't. Our problems did not go away. Many people today kick the back end of Barack Obama. Lots of people kick his back end and say, well, he didn't do what he was supposed to do. So to that I say, no one person is going to save us. And a lot of this stuff is just symbolism. Like Eric Adams, the second, David Dinkins was the first mayor of New York City. Symbolism. The recent the last appointee by Joe Biden for for the Supreme Court. Symbolism. Oh, we got a black person, you know, we got a black person in office now, you know, that's going to help us. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because if you elect a black person, and I'm not saying that, you know, it's a bad thing that black people get elected to office, but don't think that, you know, that person is going to solve all your problems, because they're not. Just like many of you thought that Barack Obama was going to solve your problems, and then you was kicking his back in. Still today, you know, 9 years after he left office, people are still kicking the man's back in, saying he didn't do enough. You see, so it's a false narrative when you know, when you think a black person is going to come into something and win, because he's only one person. You have to understand that. So when you vote in a black congressperson, for example, there's 400 and something other people. There's more than 400 other people, and he has to get the majority of them to agree with what he wants to do before he can do it. So if he wants to bring home the bacon to his district, he's got to, you know, big somebody else up. For example, you know, you have to agree to help. One hand washes the other in any Congress, in the Senate, you know, in the state assembly, in the state Senate. One hand washes the other, you know, because there's more people than just you. And so people get the idea that because you're in office now, you know, we elected you to be the congressman, that, oh, now everything is good. You're going to be, you know, and that's not always the case. That's not always the case. Because if you elect someone to Congress, for example, there's 400 and some odd other people, and you got to get 60% of them to agree with what you trying to do. So if there's 450 of them, you got to get 225 of them or more to agree with you. You got to get those folks to agree with you. So you're going to have to, you know, you're going to have to scratch somebody else's back in order to get what you need. And that's where the disconnect comes in at. Because the black folks, white folks, once they get up in there, then they become politicians. You know, like state assembly for New Jersey, for example. You get somebody, Kenyatta Stewart, I'm not even sure who that is, because I don't follow him, became a black man, younger dude, who won the assembly, state assembly, first time running, won the assembly seat in the 35th district in New Jersey. But don't expect, you know, things to start happening. You know, this man is a lawyer too, you know. He gonna be busy. So don't look for no miracles, because you're not always gonna get a return on your investment. You're not always gonna get a return that somebody's going to, that you're going to, once you vote for somebody, you're gonna get everything you want. No, you're not. No, you're not. At 24 minutes before the hour. So yeah, so it's a lot of symbolism. When we vote somebody black into office, you know, don't expect them to change the world, because they're not. Don't expect that. You know, don't expect that because it's symbolism. Barack Obama, black president, it was symbolism. Will we have another black president? Who knows? Probably not, but who knows? So, you know, because they sure didn't want Kamala Harris. That was pretty obvious. She's thinking about running again. I don't know about that. But anyway, everybody, it's about 25 minutes before the hour. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. And I'll get back to Louis Velez in a minute. I know some of y'all are scrambling for me to talk about Louis Velez. And like I said, I don't want to give too much away because he's coming on the program next week. And we're going to talk to him. But, so we'll see. But it's a lot of symbolism going on. Alvin Bragg, the first black New York DA. Does it help us? No, it doesn't. Because when these people, David Dinkins, did that help us? No, sure didn't help Eric Adams. Well, Eric Adams, that's another story. I'll get to that in a little while. Eric Adams and the embarrassing fall from grace. Eric Adams. That's what happens when you bring in people that you know. Get people that you don't know. Take a break, come back with more. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show, and it's on all over the social media spectrum. We are back, everybody. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. And it's on blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, LA Talk Radio, all over the place. All over the place. And thank you to the people who listen to the program. I broadcast primarily on Facebook. We're going to be changing that pretty soon. Maybe we're going to go on Spreaker or someplace with a wider audience. But we'll do that, very, very shortly. But a lot of this stuff is symbolism. A lot of this stuff is let me see. A lot of this stuff is symbolism. Ketanji Brown Jackson. Oh, we got a black woman who's she's a Supreme Court judge. So what? So what? A lot of this stuff is symbolism. I mean, so what? We got a black woman Supreme Court justice. What does it do for you? Nothing. Because there's 6 conservatives and 3 liberals. And she's one of those liberals. Her, Sonia Sotomayor, and one other person. So what is having a black Supreme Court justice do for you? Nothing. Nothing. It's symbolism. I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, it's a good achievement. It's nice. But what is it going to do for you? Is she going to be able to change any laws? No. She's going to be handicapped for the rest of the time that she's there. Because there's 6 conservatives, there's 3 liberals. So having Ketanji Brown Jackson as a Supreme Court justice doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it's nice, okay, nice personal achievement, stuff like that. But what does it do for black people? Nothing. It's a symbol. What does having a black New York City DA to Alvin Bragg, what does that do for you? Nothing. So having black people in these positions doesn't do anything for you. I mean, practically speaking, it does nothing for you. Because Ketanji Brown Jackson is not going to change any law. she'll vote against the conservatives, but the conservatives will win every time because there's 6 of them and there's 3, 3 liberals. So people have to learn how to understand this stuff, the symbolism. Put a black person here, put a black person there. They're the first one. They're the first. Who cares? So what? So what that they're the first black person? Big deal. Because it's only a symbol. New Jersey gets a black governor. You think it's going to do anything for you? No. No, it's not. Not for you personally. No. So a lot of this stuff, the black politicians, do we really need them? No. I say no. I mean, are they going to make a difference? Besides maybe a little big civic pride or something? No. Shout out to Lamont Gates. I saw him feeding the homeless today. Shout out to Lamont Gates, feeding the homeless. That's what's up. Lamont Gates. For feeding the homeless for Thanksgiving. Shout out to Lamont Gates for helping out. And what am I going to do? I'll let you guys know, but I won't put it on Facebook. Anyway, it's 19 minutes before the hour of 8 o'clock is Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. So yeah, great night. Tuesday night, big deal. Big deal. Trump, the midterms are up for grabs. And like I said, if the Democrats can get the Congress, get control of Congress, it's a wrap for Trump. He'll spend the next 3 years doing nothing. Because everything, legislation has to come from the Congress first, then it goes up to the Senate, then it goes to the president to sign it. So if the Democrats can get a hold of the House of Representatives in the midterms next year, a year from now, they'll be doing pretty good. Anyway, so what's the big deal? Why is everybody hating on Luis Velez? Why are people hating on? See, he's not here to defend himself, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. But why are people hating on Luis Velez? What the problem is? Why are people hating on Luis Velez? Who's going to be on the program next week? And when nobody's making any comments tonight, I just find that very strange. Nobody is making any comments. And I know people are listening because I can see that there's a lot of people listening. Lamont Gates says, thank you, but they aren't homeless. It was SNAP recipients who lost benefits and furlough. Oh, well, either way, Lamont Gates, it's, you're trying to help people. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. If this government shutdown doesn't end soon, they will be homeless, and not just SNAP recipients who lost benefits. And see, this is this is why you don't depend. I mean, if you work for the federal government, that's one thing. If something like this happens, you can't anticipate that. But when it's a sticky subject. It's a slippery slope when you start talking about these things, about SNAP and WIC, and whether you're better off with it, better off without it. I mean, I understand that there's some people who cannot work. Now, if you can't work because you have too many kids, if you can't work because you got, if you can't work because you got too many kids, that's a gray area right there. That's a gray area. So whose fault it is that you got too many kids? No. Whose fault is that you weren't responsible and you just kept having kid after kid after kid? To the people of the United States of America, the taxpayers of the United States of America, should they be responsible because you were not responsible? So now we have to be responsible? I mean, it's a question that we have to ask. At 15 minutes before the hour, it's a question that we have to ask. because and Trump is right that there is a lot of graft, fraud, waste in social service programs. There is a lot. You know, people selling their food stamps so they can get their hair done, get their nails done, because that's more important. You know, there's a lot of graft and debauchery going on in the social service sector, and people getting social services who don't really deserve to have it, who are not really in need. And see, this is the stuff that black folks don't talk about the lazy, the shiftless, some black folks who just don't want to do the right thing. You know, these are the things that people don't want to talk about. Because look, you say you live in the projects or whatever, you live in the hood, you get a better job and you making more money. Guess what? The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna get the hell out of there, like most of us do. We may start out in the projects or on Springfield Avenue or or someplace South Orange Avenue in Newark. The first chance we get, we are out of there. Because we don't want to be around that element. So we're out of there. I know me, I live in Bloomfield. You know, we can't tell you exactly where, but I wonder why waiting outside my door because of something I said. But yeah. You know, so yeah, there is a lot of grafting going on, but I feel bad for the folks who actually need SNAP, the ones who actually need it. Lamont Gates says he encountered people of all kinds, from the elderly to those who work full time, who still couldn't make ends meet, not to mention federal workers whose pay has been frozen. Well, yeah, right, and there are people who work full time who can't. But what's the answer, though, Lamont Gates? What's the answer? What is the answer to that? What can be done for the working poor? What can be done? I mean, is it even possible to provide affordable housing for everybody? For everybody who needs it. Is that even possible? Is that even possible to have affordable housing for everybody who needs it? Not for the people who, people who are, playing the system. But is it even possible for everybody who needs it? Is that even possible? It's the question we have to ask. But I'm sympathetic to the folks who to all the people, the federal workers, the Army. I think the armed forces is getting paid despite what happened. I think that a judge did order Trump to do something, and Trump actually did do it. Where half of the people who were on the dime were able to get some kind of assistance, from what I understand. So there is a movement here. There is some movement here. People who are in need. Trump was ordered to allocate some special funding for the folks who do need it. He was ordered to do that. So, and I think it went out to like half of the people who need the SNAP benefits. But, Tuesday was an important day to vote. I'm not the biggest fan of voting, but Tuesday was a important day to vote, because you don't want New Jersey falling into Republican hands. You don't, so, and everybody sent a message. You sent a message, to Trump. Because he tried to play it off and he tried to, he tried to play it off. And he tried to, say, well, but he was hurt by what happened. Because he knows that the things that he's doing is not working. Stock market falling, layoffs on the rise, food prices still the same, nothing, no, there's no savings, nothing. Everything is still the same. Day one, he's going to lower food costs. Day one, he's going to lower prescription drug costs. Hasn't done anything. Hasn't done anything. So he knows that the people are pissed off. He knows that those areas that he won during the presidential election went to Democrats this time. He knows all of this stuff. So when in the press conference, he tried to play it off like, they lost because he wasn't on the ballot. No, that wasn't it, Trump. That wasn't it. They lost because of you, not in spite of you, but because of you, they lost. The ones who didn't separate themselves from you lost. So that's what happened. Anyway, it's about 8 minutes before the hour of 7 o'clock. So yeah, so next week, I know a lot of y'all are chomping at the bit. Next week, Fifth Ward Councilman Louis Velez here in the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. You see, and we always get the, the Ron Kelly show is respected. Many people have been, Andre Sayegh has been on the program. Just about everybody who's in the council. We even had Robert Menendez on the Ron Kelly show years ago. Menendez, when he was running against Torricelli. As a matter of fact, I got fired from the station because I didn't schedule Robert Torricelli as well. And to the radio, the Equal Time Act, you're supposed to have both candidates on. And I had Robert Menendez on the program, Senator Menendez. Bill Pascrell, Congressman Pascrell, before he passed away, he was on the Ron Kelly show. And the list goes on and on. Torres, so many different people. So many different people. Marty Barnes. So many different folks have been on the Ron Kelly show over the years. Well-respected program. So it's not just, I'm not just getting out here and just talk. People respect this show. People respect the show. It's about 6 minutes before the hour. Oh, who's playing tonight? So I guess I'll go over to the spot and watch some football. But yes, so hold on to your hats. Councilman Velez will be on the program next week. Councilman Louis Velez, the 5th Ward of the City of Patterson, has agreed to come on the program. It's all set up, and we are ready to go. So next Thursday night, the 13th of November, 7 p.m., it's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program with my special guest, Councilman Luis Perez. So controversial, I guess you could say, 5th Ward Councilman Louis Velez will be on the program, and you will be able to message in. Now, you're not going to be able to talk, because I would shut that show off from anybody talking anyway. But you would be able to message into the program you'll be able to message into the program. I will put the respectful messages. You can say what you want, just be respectful. I'm not going to submit the man to verbal abuse. So, when you do send a message, just make sure there's no curse words in it, or I'll just read it, but I won't put it on the screen. I may read it and leave the cuss words out. We're all adults and we know how to communicate with each other without all of that. So yeah, so next Thursday, it's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show featuring 5th Ward Councilman of the City of Paterson, New Jersey, and mayoral candidate, from what I understand, for the next upcoming mayoral election in Paterson, New Jersey. It's Louis Velez. So good job. I'm pleased with the results from Tuesday night. The Democrats, it was a clean sweep. And what are they going to do with Mandami now? What are they going to do with Zoran Mandami? You got a Muslim, a young Muslim, who is the mayor of the most, because New York City is like a country. It's, 50, 60, the economy, the New York City budget is bigger than bigger than most countries. The city of New York, the largest city in America, is going to be ran by a young Muslim. And I know the white folks and some of the other ones are falling out on the floor because of what happened last night with Mandami. Because Cuomo wasn't a good candidate. Cuomo was not a good candidate at all. They could have picked somebody else. And then Curtis Lee was insignificant. But it's time for the Republicans to start. This is good for the Democrats, because now the Democrats have something they can hang their hat on. They can hang their hat on affordability. See, because that's what is driving people these days, affordability. That's what's driving people, because the prices of stuff is crazy. Apartments, $2,000 a month for one bedroom. And it depends on what part of the country you live, because there are places in America you can live in a whole house for like $800 a month, some places. But you should be able to live in New York, and it should be affordable. So this is what caught everybody's attention with Mamdani, somebody who came out of nowhere, who nobody knew, nobody had even heard of. Assemblyman, nobody even heard of him. Last year he was nobody, and now he's the mayor of the city of New York, the largest city in America. He's the mayor. So it just goes to show. And a Muslim, killing him. It's a Muslim. He's a Muslim. And everybody's like, but nobody's talking about the Jew. Nobody's talking about the Israeli soldiers who raped a Palestinian prisoner, allegedly. Nobody's talking about that. It seems to be true, from what I understand. And everybody's worried that Mandami is going to turn New York into a social experiment. No, I doubt it. Anyway, everybody, so yeah, next week, save the date. Councilman Velez will be here next week, so save the date. All y'all haters, those of you who hate Louis Velez, you get a chance to. I'm not going to allow anybody to verbally abuse the man, because that's how we do here on the Ron Kelly Show. We don't advocate people getting cussed out and stuff. Nobody's ever gotten cussed out on my show. But as long as your statement is respectable, I'll put it on the screen, and Councilman Velez will respond directly to you. All right, 8 seconds left. I'm out of here. Everybody have a good week. See you next time. Remember that it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice, and that we may not have it all together, but together we certainly have it all. Thank you so much. I am done.